This is Ryan Elliott for ID Boxing. Like we joined this morning by the now 2-0 Alex Winwood. First of all, Alex got the win recently. Can see the belt there on your shoulder. Congratulations. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for having us. Pleasure.
That's good to hear. Let's talk about it. For those that don't know, in your second pro fight, you took a big step up just a matter of days ago now. WBC international title, world rankings on the line. This was meant to be your acid test to see where you're at, and you got rid of the guy in 4 rounds and totally dominated him. Did you expect that?
I think for the ambitions we have, if we didn't get rid of him as quick as we did, we'd have to reevaluate what we want to do and how fast we want to do it. So, um, we want to become world champion as fast as we can. And these are the guys that we have to make, you know, quick work of, if we want to be that ambitious. So, uh, yeah, like there was a bit of pressure on the line, but I came through with flying colours, and yeah, I'm happy that we took the test because I think that's where my skill level is, and obviously it's beyond that. So, um, yeah, now we have a more clear understanding of where we are on the world stage.
Prior to this fight going ahead now in March, you had a bit of a farce out in Dubai not so long ago where the fight, 2 days out was pulled. You left completely with the wool over your eyes with regard to that. Did you feel like you let a bit of frustration out in this fight? Now it finally gone ahead and you could get in there and let those hands go.
Yeah, definitely. I had a 3 week call up for the same bout for Dubai. Like you said, 2 days out. Fight got pulled, so it was a frustrating time, and wasn't much I could do about it except vent my anger and whatever have you. So we got through Christmas, and just kind of hoped that the fight went through. I was a bit hesitant whether they would take a rematch, especially over in Australia in Perth. So yeah, it was a bit up in the air, but I'm glad that we got to make it happen. And yeah, it was on Friday night. It all went down.
For those that are just getting to know you, you made no secret that you want to be a world champion quick time. You want to beat Jeff Fenech's record as the fastest Australian world champion. He did it in 7 fights. You've just had your second fight there. Obviously ambitious, but at what point did you think this is what I want to do? I want to beat that record.
Yeah, I think pretty much from the get go. I'm 25 years old. In terms of smaller weight classes, I think I'm towards my physical prime. So I think if there's any time to do it, it's now. I've I've been in with the best as amateurs. Olympic gold medalists, world medalists, things like that. So I've been in with really skilled opponents and been in tough fights as an amateur. And I'm looking at these guys' records as pros, and I think that they're fairly well padded. A lot of them. I think they've developed their experience and skill through easy fights coming up. But I've already had that um, in my background as an amateur. So I reckon I have what it takes to match these guys, and in terms of experience and what I've seen in the ring and what I haven't. So yeah, I think there's no reason for me to take my time and test out the waters. I reckon I have what it takes, and I've got world class sparring already. So I have a fair idea of how tough people are out there. Andrew and Jason, both world rated number one, so at heavier weight classes. So if I'm sparring them, I think I have a pretty clear understanding of what's to come in my weight class, anyways.
Yeah, let's talk about that relationship with the Moloney brothers then. Obviously, massive for Australian boxing, both of them. You're both under the same sort of banner. Can you talk a bit about the kind of bond that you guys have and how much you learn in the ring with the likes of the Maloneys?
Oh, they're fantastic. To have them as stable mates is just there's experience that you can't buy. They're very open with me. They obviously want to see me progress and um, help myself along the way. So if they think that they can help out, they always have. They've never shone away, or never came up with empty answers when I've asked them any questions. So it definitely has propelled my progress. Time wise, I'm not sure. Like beyond the amount of times that I'd need to mess up and learn from my own mistakes. They're telling me what needs to be done and what needs to be changed right there and there, so I don't have to fall short and realize it on my own. So I take my hat off to these guys, and they're great role models and even better friends. So yeah, it's been fantastic to work alongside them.
With that world title charge that you're on, you beat a guy who is ranked with the IBF. That WBC belt obviously holds some leverage with regards to a world ranking too. When you look at the champions, is there any preference on which route you want to go down, or is it any means necessary?
Any means necessary. I think it's we want to do it fast. So at the end of the day, we're going to have to look at who's going to give us the shot the quickest. Really, I think the obstacle that we have is my inexperience on paper, and they might use that as a way to duck us a bit. So we're kindly going to have to target in on one and force a mandatory fight, or force their hand to take the bout. Even Tebow, their management, they didn't really want to take the fight. I had one fight at the time. It was a very, very dangerous fight for them, and as it should have been. They know that I was had a pretty extensive amateur career, and as my last fight, they knew that I was a fair bit of a danger. So, they was advised otherwise to take the fight, but we said, well, mate, you might as well take the fight and prove it and get in there. I've only had one fight. You've got the experience. You've got every other advantage. So why not? And, I think that's a problem that we may have going forward. But we're just, like I said, we're going to have to find someone, target them, and force their hand to take the fight. So, any means necessary, really.
Well, we've got you here, Alex. This is the first time we've spoken. I just wanted to kind of get a gauge and hope you could tell us a bit about your first memories of boxing. A lot of popular sports in Australia. Why was it boxing for you?
So my amateur coach ran for probably a 3-month stint some boxing lessons at my high school, and targeted mainly the kids that couldn't sit still and was a bit naughty, and I was part of that. And just like had a bit of a go. Didn't really think much of it, but I seen him on a school holidays when I'm skating around on my skateboard, and he was going for a walk, and he just said, "Hey, how about you pop down to the gym?" And my dad let my dad know, and then he was all for it. So he took me down there, and after a couple of sessions or whatever else, I was playing AFL football and doing that 3 times a week. Then the other 2 days a week, I was doing some boxing. And at the time, it was quite hard. Football, you can be quite lazy and you don't have to train as hard. You've got a team that depends on you, and you can just, pull the piss a bit in footy, and everyone else is going to pull up the slack. But boxing, it wasn't like that. It was like, you're on your own, and I kind of dreaded boxing for the first few months. I was like, that's hard training. I don't really want to do that. But after 6 months of training, then I had my first bout, and needless to say, I was a young kid and I absolutely crapped myself. But then I got back in there again, and same thing happened. And more and more I did it. I just fell in love with the relationship I had with my coach at the time. He became a father figure to me, and I just enjoyed his company so much that, whatever he said, I did. And I think without that relationship, I probably wouldn't have made it this far. But, it was just the enjoyment of having a relationship with him, and boxing was that connection that we had. And I ended up being pretty decent at it. And before I knew it, we started thinking about like a world championships and possibly an Olympic Games. And it was just training out of the backyard of a gym. And then we came up with all these aspirations, and one by one, we slowly ticked them off. And looking back at it now, 10 years in the future, like back in the past, it was just, it was very ambitious. But, that's, if I didn't realize that back then and chase dreams that I didn't think was possible, that's why I'm going to be just as ambitious now, because I know that with the hard work, it's not just a dream; it all can come reality. So
It sounds like in your head, boxing was a bit of a slow burner. You said that, you're kind of dreading going at first, and there was football. But at what point do you think your coach realized there was something special there? And how soon was he telling you that this is going to be more than a hobby?
yeah, so I think my first year of boxing, I had 3 or 4 belts. And when that year come to a close, he gave me the ultimatum. He said, it's boxing or football, mate. What do you want to do? I said, you can't keep on doing this 2 or 3 times a week. You either have to do it more, or you give it up and you just come here and train. And then at that point, yeah, I think maybe six odd months after starting the fight, I chucked the footy in, and went all in on boxing. And then I went on a state team and we started traveling, and couldn't believe it. It was beyond anything that I could have imagined, because I tried that for footy and it was very hard to get on any type of state team or anything like that. And I started doing it in boxing in a few months, and I went, wow, this is pretty incredible. I'm traveling the country. I've never been on a plane before, and it just kind of opened up a lot of doors. And like it really did become a true passion, and something that I'm forever grateful for.
If people don't know, you're a Tokyo Olympian, of course, the pinnacle of the amateurs. Talk to me about the Olympic experience, from the highs of open ceremonies and being around other Olympians to the lows of having to leave the Olympics. What was that whole experience like for you?
Yeah, I think the highest point of the Olympics for me was qualifying for it. This was pre-pandemic, not far before, and it was just probably the pinnacle of my amateur career to qualify for the Olympics. And then I think the week later, once we got home, is when the Olympics had been postponed. So there was a 16-month period where we was kind of getting ready, and we don't know whether it was going ahead and such, and just kind of had to block all that out, put the blinders on, and look forward, and just train for what could be. And then we got to Tokyo, and the lead up was fantastic. We had 4 months of training and got to travel the world a bit while in the pandemic. But obviously there was no crowd, very, very limited to what we could do. So it wasn't the Olympics experience that I thought it could have been. And it was a bit of a letdown. We didn't get to watch any other sport, and couldn't leave the village and such. And we're fighting in front of an empty crowd. And it was a bit of a letdown in terms of what you imagine and what an Olympics would have been like. Even the opening ceremony they did their best, and I take my hat off to Japan's government for hosting the event anyways. But you wish you would walked out in front of a packed arena and seen everyone. But I got to enjoy an experience like that at the Commonwealth Games anyways, and I walked out in front of a crowd, and I thought, yeah, this feels more like of what I could have imagined what an Olympics would have been like, on a lower end of the scale. So but once we lost at the Olympics, we had to be on a plane within 24 hours and sent out of there. And I think my teammates fought for me to stay for an extra couple of days. But I think I ended up staying for maybe 3 more days after I lost. And then I was ushered out of the Olympic Village and back on my way home to a quarantine camp. So it was a bit of a low point at my life. I thought, I've trained so long and so hard for this, and here I am in a what we call a FIFO mining camp, which is like fly in, fly out people that are on the mines. I was like, here I am by myself. It's been 2 weeks, and I've got to spend 14 days in this camp, and still don't get to see my family and things like that. It was from the highs of the highs to the lows of the lows, and it was a very lonely spot. But a bit of self reflection gave me a lot of time to just enjoy myself and think, all right, well, you know, I've done what I set out to do. It might not have been a gold medal, might not have been any medal, but it's definitely more than I bargained for.
We've got an Olympic gold medalist over here that you're very familiar with, Galal Yafai. You fought Galal, I think it's 2019 you fought Galal. What are your memories of sharing the ring with him?
Yeah, I remember first speaking to him maybe 2017 World Championships, and then he won gold at Gold Coast 2018 Commonwealth Games. Unfortunately, Australia didn't send my weight class, so I didn't get to compete against him there. And then we matched up in the ring in 2019. Very, very pressure oriented fighter. Surprised me how strong his legs were actually. I really like his style for someone that was in my weight class actually, which I don't like to admit too much when if I like someone's style in my weight class, but yeah, it was a pleasure to share the ring with him. He's got a phenomenal style. I like the way that he fights. But yeah, I did learn a lot from that at the time. I think I fought like for maybe 4 years, maybe 5 years, I think. So to come against someone with, so many fights, I think he had over 100 and he already medaled out of world championships by that point. So yeah, it was a pleasure. So I was really hoping that I was going to match up against him at the Olympics, and well, if I would have got through my fight, then I'd have been able to. But yeah, I kind of didn't get past my Zambian counterpart, so he got the match up with Galal at the games.
Appreciate he's at flyweight and you're at light flyweight for now, but is there a bit of you that looks at that and thinks you've got ambitions, Galal's got big ambitions, at some point it's inevitable that you'll do it as pros?
Possibly. I think Galal's a fair bit size-wise, a little bit bigger than me actually. Like, I am surprised that he stayed up for flyweight. I thought he would have went down as a pro, but he's obviously handling it quite well at flyweight, so I don't see the need for him to mix it up anyways. But I think maybe in the future I'm more suited to the very even minimum weight light fly. Both of them are around my size. I've noticed that the size difference between light fly minimum and light and flyweight. There's a fair bit of a jump up when they hit to flyweight. So I think I've got a fair few years at the two smaller weight classes, and I guess once I get old and I can't keep the weight off, then we'll move up. But yeah, I would like to fight him as a pro somewhere in the future. I think that would be a fantastic fight, actually.
I wanted to ask you as well, when you started boxing, you mentioned you weren't really in the gym until you were a teenager, but once you kind of got the boxing bug, what fighters did you look up to? Who were your favorite fighters to watch?
Yeah, when I first started out, the only person I could find on YouTube was Floyd Mayweather. And I was just kind of sucked into everything that he's putting out on all the, what did he call it? All accesses, and I'll just watch every single one of them, and it's just so flashy. And what he did in the ring, I was like, wow, this guy is unreal. And it wasn't until a couple of years later that I started to watch more and more, and yeah, then Canelo obviously became the next big thing, and I got to appreciate him a lot more after he lost to Floyd and then went on and did what he did. But at the moment, like, bar back then, now I'm really into like Stevenson and Crawford and a fair few of the Americans. They're just so different to anyone else out there that it's very special to see. So yeah.
There's a big fight in Australia on Sunday, I believe it is. Tszyu fighting Tony Harrison, one step away from the world title. How do you see that fight going?
Yeah, I haven't watched much of Harrison. hopefully Tim gets the job done. He's getting hit in these last few fights, but um, I'm going to always back the Aussie, and I hope he does go well. I think that his defense needs a little bit more work to it, but yeah, I wish the best for him, and hopefully he gets it done. So we'll have to wait and see.
And Alex, just a final one from me before I let you go for our predominantly UK audience that might be getting to know you for the first time and want to follow you on your journey. What would you say to them in terms of what they can expect from Alex Winwood going forward and your big ambitions as well?
I think that I just want to bring a lot more eyes to the smaller weight classes. Um, not many of them are getting knockouts down there, and I want to prove that wrong. I'm a very big hitter for my size, so I just want to show them all that I can bang, and that these smaller weight classes are exciting, and it's not all about the lightweights and the middleweights and the heavyweights. So if we can bring some more eyes and attention to that's my job done. So yeah, I guess keep a lookout for all the big bangs that's going to come forward.
All right, Alex, thank you very much for joining me. I'm sure we'll catch you very soon, and congratulations again on the win.
I appreciate it, Ryan.